expert.
3, 2.
I have to pick my nose.
And we are on air. It starts the hangout. The first hangout of 2013. Cass is talking about her nose. That's a great start for us all. Hello everybody. This is Happy New Year, everybody. It's Ryan Moore with Android Coliseum here. This is our first hangout of 2013. This is our 10th hangout together in the past while, our little group here. But this is something kind of monumentous here. This is the first of our hangouts as Android Coliseum. And that's something we want to talk about today, is that this is our new little project and launching here is Android Coliseum. It's come about as a fact of a bunch of Android enthusiasts, and we all are, to get together and actually have our own, Friday night hangouts, but as well a blog where we can talk. And we not only want to just talk out there, but we want to talk with people as well. So as this on-air broadcast is just locked to us people right now at the moment, but we can still have anybody join in terms of a comment. So we're watching our event link, we're watching the Google Plus page, we're watching our blog, and most of us have our personal Google Plus page profiles up and open to anybody that wants to hit us up on Google Talk. So while we're going through, if there's anything that you guys wanted to talk about, by all means do so. We've provided in the event the link for the topics that we're going to be going through today. So even on there, you can go into that page and hit a comment. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about, by all means, please do so. So otherwise, we got a few things we're going to chat about today. First, let's go through and introduce here. So starting from my far right would be Tom Gray. We have back from the wilds of New York, Sylvain Labouris.
Hello.
Myself, Ryan Moore. We have Cass Morrison. And missing this week right now is Mark Lestuca, who, as we all know, recently had a little baby, and he and the wife and the little one are enjoying themselves a lot right now. So, Mark, I know you're probably watching. Keep your diapers clean, buddy. So, let's start this hangout out. Android Coliseum. It's a new blog, a new project for us all. I think we're all very passionate Android users here. I mean, most of us are wearing some sort of swag or are surrounded by several devices of Android likings. And it's something that we've all kind of gotten together and decided we're going to start a new blog. So we've just started our blog thanks to Google for providing that kind of platform for us, using Blogger and using the Google Apps accounts. We've built Android Coliseum, so www.androidcoliseum.com. We're there. Go check us out. We have articles, and we've been testing it out since about mid-November, so we've had some articles way back then. So just testing out. And again, we're going to write articles that we think that appeal to you guys about the lifestyle of Android in Canada. You can also find us on Twitter, twitter.com/AndroidColiseum. We can go to facebook.com/AndroidColiseum. You can go to Google+. We don't have a vanity URL yet, but just look for Android Coliseum. We not only have a Google Plus page, we have a Google Plus community for Android Coliseum as well. So we're going to try to be as many places as we can for you guys to be able to listen to us. And yeah, we want to have that conversation with you about Android and about living with Android in Canada. Okay, so let's talk about who we are first off. So many of you guys probably are watching this right now. I'm hoping there's many of you guys out there. But there's some of you guys may have been watching us for a while and know who we are. But let's, in case you're new, and especially this is a new project, let's give us a chance to introduce ourselves. So again, I'll do reverse order, which I said earlier. So let's start with Cass. Let's introduce yourself, Cass.
Oh, sure. I'm fiddling around with a logo. I started out in Palm with a Palm device a long time ago. I was into Sony, and I had a UX50. I got that. That was my last Palm device. And then I switched over to Windows Mobile. So I was with Windows Mobile. I had a HTC Dual, and then I got a Samsung Omnia 2. And once Microsoft decided to abandon that platform, I moved over to Android because I wanted the same kind of functionality. I got a Galaxy S. I think it was on Eclair, and it was upgraded twice. And I've actually passed it on to my sister-in-law when I got my Galaxy Nexus. And I also have had several tablets. I've had the original Samsung Galaxy Tab, the 7-inch one. Then I got the 10.1-inch one, and then I went back and got the Galaxy Tab 2 7, and now I have the Note 10.1. I really like Samsung. They have lots of my money, and I haven't figured out how to invest in their stock yet.
So before we move on then, so let's ask you, so what was it about Android that has caused you to stay with Android versus the other ones you changed, maybe because you were forced to change? But what is it about Android that's causing you to stay and be with that?
I think the flexibility. I really like what I need my phone for. I want it to look the way I want it to, and that's what you can do with Android. I bet if we looked at all of our phones, none of our home screens would look the same. And that's one of the great things about Android.
Exactly. Everything about Android is you can make it what you want it to be, and that's I always talk about heavily. My one article was, what should you do with an Android? Hey, make it your own. And that's what they allow to do. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so thanks, Cass. And Cass has been a sort of a reader when Tom and I were writing for Android in Canada, and was following us then, and we've been doing the Hangouts with her for a while. So a lot of good input from Cass in terms of her knowledge. Obviously, heavily into tablets, heavily into Galaxy devices. And I think Cass is probably one of our touch point kind of people here, in the fact that she's just the average user. I mean, Cass isn't a rooter. She has an article out there about why she doesn't root. A lot of us are rooters when it comes to Android, but you know what? There's a lot of users out there that probably aren't. So I think if you're listening in, and you're probably like her, most often you're more like me, and let's say Tom, who buys phones more often than not. So thanks, Cass. Let's move along. Myself, I'm Ryan Moore. I have been writing Android Coliseum, just since we started this a little while ago. But I wrote for Android in Canada for a while, for almost 2 years, at least a year and a half or so, with some space in between. And I also wrote for another Android blog called Canadian Android. Again, the idea that I love sharing the knowledge that I can find out there to help answer questions for people out there. For me, the voyage to Android was, I started off with, and I brought it out, I think I lost it now, my Palm. So I, like Cass, I started off with Palm, and I've had about 8 different Palm devices over the history of that unit, and I love being able to find out every last little bit about it. How do I tweak this little thing? How do I put the launchers before the launchers were know what launchers were? So that kind of stuff. And I really liked it. And when it eventually sort of was dying, I knew I had to go to something, and I knew I didn't like Apple. For me, it was not an Apple thing. I had to go, and I went to Google, and I didn't even have a Gmail account when I did to an Android. And I got my HTC Magic. That's the first one I got. And that was on Cupcake, so the very first commercially version, or whatever you want to call it. It was a great little device, and it didn't take me very long to forget entirely about Palm. Like, it was immediately you understood the system, and you're in it, and for a guy like me, being able to know every little thing about it, it was nice because I was constantly learning. Like, you learn one thing, and then you just get sucked into the next level of something else. So I really liked it. And that's where I'm at today. Personally, right now, I'm rocking the new Nexus 4. I'm one of the few lucky people in Canada, I think, that have gotten it. Unfortunately, that's another story for another day. But I've got it. I've had a Galaxy S3. I've had the Galaxy Nexus. I've had the Galaxy S, Captivate, and the Magic. So not many devices. I have a couple tablets in there as well. But something I just love reading Android and love sharing that knowledge with everybody else. Okay, that's me. Let's move along to Sylvain.
Yeah, so I've had cell phones for maybe 16 years now. The first one I had is long gone. I don't even know where it is. And then I didn't have a cell phone for a long time. And in 2007, I got this one here, a little flip phone, still on my desk. Doesn't work. It's a piece of crap. And finally, after reading XDA forums, I found out that they had smartphones. And I know I've been a little bit late on that, but I bought the HTC Hero. It was a really good phone, and it took me a while before I decided to just go to a better one. And since last January, I have a Galaxy Nexus. So yeah, I love Android. After I bought my Galaxy Nexus, it took 6 hours, and I rooted it and installed a new ROM on it. So I barely ever run a stock ROM on my phone. And it was the same for HTC. And just tonight, I installed AOKP. So I'm still testing it. I don't know if it's stable or what, but it's their first release of Jelly Bean 4.2.1. Looks pretty good so far. I'm already missing a few things from Cyanogen, but yeah, I still get. I need to get used to it. So that's my story of Android.
So as a latecomer to the smartphone game, that's something I know I'm struggling with. My own father, who's never had a phone, like he's learned very much, so now he's got himself a Note 2. So what made you go from a feature phone to not just a smartphone, but to, I think, the best operating system smartphone? Like, what was it that drew you towards Android in the first place, versus the iPhone, versus the let's say Palm OS at the time, or whatever might else have been out there?
Well, I thought about iPhone when I first saw that there was smartphones, but I found it too close. You couldn't do anything. And what I really liked is that on my HTC Hero, it was, I think, a developer's phone kind of. XDA was a lot, developing for it. And what made me change from my Hero to the Galaxy Nexus is when TELUS announced that they were stopping the development officially at, was it 2.2? And I said, I can't do that anymore. So I wanted to be sure to have the latest all the time.
Just to add that it turns out that the Galaxy Nexus one you had the weird Yakju UX problem. Therefore, in Canada we weren't getting the latest developments that the US counterparts were. It was kind of sucks in the long run of things. Good. So if you were a smartphone user, what were you at an XDA for in the original first place?
What I was doing there?
Yeah.
Well, I was shopping
were you
for
on
my phone, actually.
You're using XDA before you used it.
Absolutely.
Before you use a smartphone, yeah.
Yes, I wanted to
know.
As
a shopping feature.
Yeah, I wanted to know. Okay, is there what are the ROMs for that, and what's being developed the most? And I thought at the time the HTC Hero was pretty good for that.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a ROM was before I got into Android. On Palm, you can tweak things, but you never really change the the base live system. Cass, you had a comment there about?
Yeah, I got on XDA a long time ago too, because I had a Windows Mobile phone, and XDA, of course, started with Windows Mobile. So that's why I learned how to, get familiar with regedit and customize my phone that way. So it's not unexpected that I would go with Android instead of anything else. And I liked how it made me feel dumb. Holy cow. Those guys, I tell you, that is one forum group that has gotten way more user-friendly. Because when I first started there, probably, 5 years ago, I hesitated to type anything.
You had to be elite or not, right?
Well, and you had to have searched the snot out of the site. Otherwise, everybody just said, search, search.
Yeah, they jump on you for asking a question.
Yeah, and it's a terrible search site.
And do you have that? Have you seen the video they have now? If you're for a new user on XDA, if you go click on and you register a new user, because to be honest with you, I mean I used to use it when I was on Palm. They had some Palm devices on there, but I wasn't really into it. I'm still not really big on XDA, and I go use it now and again. But so I finally registered an account, and they have a video that comes up. It says, "Noobs, watch this." And it basically says, "Read the manual." You know, like hit the search button. Chances are you're not the only dummy out there. So I mean, it's kind of tongue in cheek, but they still are pretty much. You know what? We're not going to hold your hand here. This is for the people that have some knowledge and can wade through. All right, let's move along down the line to Tom. Let's hear your story, Tom.
Okay, well, my name is Tom Gray, formerly known as Xerox Drocas. Way before iPhones, I used to be the PSP and the Nintendo DS guy. And the question I'd always ask is, yeah, so what? It plays games. What else could it do? I was the guy with my PSP, the only guy on the block who had MSN Messenger on it back in the day, and that was the coolest thing ever. No one had that, right? So as I stepped through the mobile world, I kept asking myself the same question. Yeah, this is an Android. So what? What else can it do? So my very first phone was the HTC Mogul, or for us Canadians, I think it was like the P9000 or something, or P4000. And it was, as Kat said, it was, you know, the Windows Mobile, came with Windows Mobile 6. And again, same question. Well, what else can it do? So what? It's a phone, right? So now I found Elite 6.5, and of course XDA was there waiting for me. I jumped in there, regedit, you know, jumping in there, trying to figure out how to modify things. Today it's way more simple than it was back then. Back then it was grueling. You had to know what you're talking about. After HTC, the Windows Mobile, I didn't really like it too much. So I jumped on the BlackBerry, and I was really into BlackBerry, loved it. Same thing, editing, making my own themes, you know, tweaking apps. I advanced further and further, got in contact with a couple of contacts with Research in Motion, actually started working with Research in Motion, and became a developer and beta tester. So they would send me the BlackBerries before they hit the mass market for me to test out, report bugs, and in return, I got to keep the phone for my own work put out. Never got paid, but the phone was the payment. Same with applications. They send me applications, test out, let us know what's wrong, and in return, you don't have to pay the $7 fee for the app, you get to keep it. So I did that for a number of years, got many BlackBerries for free doing it. Got a little bit tired because, you know, at that time iPhones are rising up. Now iPhone is, you know, the 2G came out, 3G followed, and all of a sudden it's huge. Everybody has an iPhone, right? If you don't have one, you're just not cool anymore, right? So I jumped on the iPhone bandwagon, and same thing happened there. It really took off. If you look at my Google Plus photos, you'll see some of my iPhone projects. I themed them up like you wouldn't believe. And same thing, got in contact with Apple, and I jumped on the same beta and developer bandwagon again. Apple started sending me free iPhones. They'd pay for half my iPhone. I'd have to go buy it myself, show them the receipt, fax it, email it, whatever. They'd pay me back half or sometimes all of it. In return, I started getting free apps and stuff like that. And then Android came around. Okay, well, let's see what else is there. So now I jumped onto Android. And again, always asking the question, well, what else is there? So as Ryan said, I go through more Androids than I do T-shirts. I mean, I've probably go on average 10 Androids a year. I've owned 80% of the Androids available in North America, and probably a whole bunch of the more popular ones of the international models. I like my theming my apps, making everything black. If I can't find it, I'll make it myself. You know, with the help of XDA, if they don't have it, I know the tools, how to do it myself, and I will make it happen. On top of that, I had to explore the rest of the world. Windows Mobile, the new Windows Mobile, was the only corner of the universe I hadn't explored yet. So I jumped on that, played around with them for a while. It was nice, but it just wasn't me. Android pulled me back, and that's where I call home. Being the fact that I was able to explore all four corners of the mobile universe that's relevant today gives me a very wide understanding of all the aspects on each different sides, which I can actually give an unbiased opinion what I feel is best. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to be like, okay, I wear Android, use Android, Android's the best, everyone else sucks. No, I'm not like that. It depends on what you like, what kind of person you are. Are you a simple user, or do you like to tweak? I can help you out with that. So me personally, I love Android. I'm going to stay with them until something better comes out. But until then, here's where I call home. And I look forward to sharing my knowledge and stories with people on Android Coliseum.
Thanks, Tom. And like I said, yeah, it's the thing about we're not we kind of are a little bit, Android fanboys in a sense, but in the same sense, I mean, a lot of us have gone through a few iterations of different mobile systems, so we're not closed-minded. We are open. I mean, I myself have tried out that new Windows Phone 8, gave that a shot just to try it out. And again, personally, it didn't pull me away from Android, but who knows what's around the corner. So that's us. Again, you can follow us anywhere on the blog, on Google+. Google+ is where we're going to be at mostly. We also have a Facebook, Twitter as well, and you can comment on the blog, but Google+ is where we're going to have a lot of our own traffic, a lot of our discussions. And so we hope to see you guys follow us there. So let's go on to some of the topics we want to just chat about this week. We're going to have a really short one this week because, you know what, after the Christmas holidays, there wasn't much news really coming around, not a lot of app updates. So let's just talk about some of the things. So we've talked about us here going through different things from Android to RIM to Windows Phone, the Windows Mobile original, Palm OS for myself. So that's the competition that's been out there, and I'm just going to jump topics a little bit here and just talk about what's the competition for Android right now. I mean, if we go out there and we look in the market right now, it's iPhone, it's BlackBerry, and Windows Phone for a small percentage. In Canada, the last stats I saw was basically Android and RIM are standing about the same, about 30%, if I remember correctly, somewhere around 35% or so. And basically iPhone the next 25-30% or so, and Windows Phone a very, very small 3%. So in terms of competition, it's between BlackBerry, which we all know has just been dying off the market. We're all just kind of waiting to see, is it going to die this year? Is it going to die next month? It's sad to say. Unfortunately, I'd hate to see that, but it might happen. But 2013, we might see some new competition for Android. And if you watched a couple of days ago, we watched a new one emerge. For the past year, Ubuntu has been talking about an Ubuntu desktop mode for Android, so an actual app you put on the thing. And I must admit, I haven't really had a chance to take a look at this and see how well it works. But it's an app you put in, and then you have basically a very simple canonical version of Ubuntu on your phone. Well, now they've come out with a full Ubuntu operating system mobile. Full. That's kind of cool. So, but is it a competitor? We've heard a lot about this Galaxy S4. We're hearing more rumors about it than anything else. It's starting to be very much an iPhone-esque kind of story that we're hearing rumors before it's even come out. And some of the rumors we've been hearing about is this Samsung's Tizen, their new version of beta. So are these some of the competition for the new things for Android? So let's open up. So Cass, you had a comment about that.
Yeah, I do. I think that, as much as people don't like the Samsung TouchWiz interface, I noticed it was very easy to transition from Windows Mobile to Android because the phones essentially look the same. And I can see them making that Ubuntu, Tizen, Bata. I mean, if you looked at the Bata phones, they also looked the same as their Android phones. They just lacked a bit of functionality because they didn't have those other, the app stores. So if this can use Android apps, I think Samsung's setting them up well. Setting themselves up well. They can get into China. They have a good name in China as well. And China's pretty well, I think that's where they're focusing with their Tizen, whatever they're calling it, Tarzan. Yeah. So I think they'll probably fly it first in China, get as much as they can in there, and be like ZTE and come over here and be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, the old beta phones, I must admit, I've never really looked at them myself, but if you look at a beta, whatever you want to call it, it was very similar to what yeah, TouchWiz TouchWiz is now, right? And one of the things I talked about in my article a while ago, saying my predictions for 2013, and I had the idea that I think this is the year that we're going to get UIs as an option on phones, so that if you don't like it, you remove it, and you can have stock on it. I mean, Tom had a good point that, Samsung has spent a lot of money developing their operating system the way they wanted it. So that's totally true. That's something I didn't really think much about it. So yeah, if they're going to try to play around with it, and they can make this Tizen operating system, you heard it here first. Cass is calling it the Tarzan operating system, Samsung Tarzan. So if they can make it look the same way that people who have just humongously jumped on the bandwagon for the Galaxy S3, the Galaxy Note, and they have this system that looks exactly the same, they'll be on it. Now, what's the app connectivity? That's something I question. Like, my only question, looking at Ubuntu, I'm not a big Ubuntu fan. I have played around with it, but whatever. I'm sure it has its appeal. But what really appealed to me for Android is the fact that we have not only the great app market. That's one piece of the equation. For me, it's the fact that it ties centrally around some service, and that's the Google service. I'm entering the Google framework, so I have my Gmail account, and that ties me into my app account, ties me into everything else. So, and I don't know if Ubuntu has that sort of, do I have to set it up and have different logins for all these different services I'm going to have? Samsung's starting to do that with their own. They have a Samsung Connect account, I think it's called, or whatever now, so that you set up that Samsung service account. So maybe that's where Tizen is going to have the edge over something like an Ubuntu one. But we've heard Ubuntu may look like it may be able to run Android APK. The thing. Tom, you got a comment?
Yeah, with their releasing their new operating system, I really hope that they don't burn their bridges with Google, because I see Samsung as Google's golden child. Samsung is, to me, how I view it, is they're like the official sponsor of Android. They're so high up on the chain. You look at the most popular phones for Android, they're almost all Samsung, right? I really hope that there doesn't become any, sibling rivalry here, or bad mixed feelings with them trying to go into competition with Google.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a stat right now. Samsung in the U.S., just looking at a stat right now, is 25% of the market. 25% of the market. The next biggest is Apple at 17%. 18.5%. And Samsung's 27%. So it's so Samsung's nearly all in with Android.
Did we lose Ryan?
I think we're losing him.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was me.
Do you still feature phones? What is number one? Oh, am I lagging?
Yeah, you are. I thought it was me, but it's actually you.
I thought that too. I still want to comment.
Go ahead, Cass.
Frozen, so go ahead and comment.
So I don't think that Samsung is going to abandon Android. I think what Samsung's going to do is create a parallel track with their App Store and stuff like that, and their Learning Center and everything else that they have in there, and provide feature phones so that people that can't afford, like your $600, what if you could get something that looks just like the Galaxy S3, except it's a feature phone, and it does everything that you want it to do, and it's only $300. Right. And you don't want to root, and you don't want to do much more than dress it up.
I wasn't too concerned. I know Samsung's not going to drop Android. I know that. They'd be very foolish to even try. But the main concept was just Google having bad feelings, saying, oh, well, you're supposed to be with us, you
But
know,
they've got,
worried about.
but they have Motorola. And, you know, like with the Nexus line, they're spreading that around. I don't blame Samsung a bit for, you know, trying to maintain their market share however they can and forge ahead. Someday we'll all have cell phones.
Right. So I'll take over for Ryan. So what the next topic would have been is we had a poll on Android Coliseum, and that was phones. How do you like them in terms of protection? Are you just a case kind of guy or girl? Do you do the whole case and screen protector, or do you go completely naked and just go like crazy and just reckless with your phone? What do you do for your phone, Cass?
Well, I get a lot of different cases, but in the end, I usually like how my phone is without a case, so I just have a screensaver on it.
Right.
A screen protector. So, and this is a Ghost Armor that I got installed. I think I was in Vancouver. I got it installed. And, you know, it's got a lifetime warranty, and you can, if you want, you can take it off and wash it. But it's been really good.
Yeah, because Ryan and I were talking about screen protectors. I posted all the screen protectors I got actually here for my Nexus 4 that's not here yet. And we got a lot of mixed reviews. You know, one of our people we had in earlier, Savan, she had mentioned that she likes her screen protectors as well. Me, for one, I'm all about going naked. I mean, my comment has always been, always will be, life is better when it's naked, right? I mean, so for me, like, you're exactly right. I like how the phone feels, especially like with the phone like the Galaxy Note. I don't want to put a case on it because it's already a huge phone. I don't want to make it even bigger. And I feel when I put a screen protector on it, I lose a little, like 10% of the sharpness of the text or anything. You can tell that there's a screen protector on there, especially for a guy like me who's very crazy about looking at details and stuff. I get a little tiny scratch on my screen. I want to buy a new phone already. I don't even want this one anymore. And April, she's laughing at me right now. My wife's laughing at me because she knows it's true. So what do you do, Sylvain? How do you have your phone? You're muted, Sylvain.
I don't know why I was muted. So I was saying that I'm all for protection. So the first day I have my phone, there's a screen protector on it. There's a case that I received prior to buying my phone. So yeah, if I drop it, which I never did, knock on wood, yeah, it needs to be protected. And I don't buy phones very often, and that's probably why, I think. Even though I really like the feel of it, and I wish I wouldn't use all that protection, but you know, it's more practical for me.
Right. So how about you, Ryan? What's your preference on screen protector?
I like it naked. I mean, take that any euphemistic way you'd want to. But yeah, no, I definitely prefer to have my phone the way the manufacturer intended it just to have it. So, and it's the same thing. Like, there's a great post somebody wrote one of the articles we were talking, because the way this came out was, yeah, Tom was talking about the screen protectors, and it just a huge conversation launched in about what do you put on your phone. So that's why I put that poll in there. And one of the greatest comments I had was, if somebody came out tomorrow with a Galaxy or a Nexus 5 or whatever you want to call it, next device has all the exact same stats, but it looked like an OtterBox, or it looked like that phone did with the thing, nobody would buy it. You know what? I think that's what I think is, you know, people like it because it's a styled, sexy phone. I mean, I look at my device and I like it. I mean, I really liked that the Optimus G. I really would like to. I prefer that kind of phone over the rest of it. But a nice, sexy phone. It's got really cool. I take it. Personally, I went and bought some of these $2 cases just because, you know what? I got some tiny, tiny, tiny scratches on my phone. I'll live with it, but I'm like Tom. That's all I see now. That's all I see. On my Galaxy S3, there is a tiny, tiny, absolutely infinitesimal little scratch, and that's all I see now. I'm really, I can never sell this now.
You know it's there, and it's
there
your eye every time.
it's like a dead pixel, right? You can't unsee it now, right? So, But so part of me is like, yes, I want to preserve that. So I went and bought. I mean, they were $2. If I don't like it, I can throw it away. Little TPU cases for $2. I prefer to protect the back of it. But I don't know if I want to put another front case on it. One thing I keep hearing, if you put a screen protector on it, things like you're using a stylus or using a glove with things on, gets a little tricky sometimes. So that's I find a little tricky to touch as it's sensitive. So I want to make sure that the experience I have with my phone is as real as possible. Cass, you had a comment?
Okay, I
still
have to
someone had a
admit,
comment.
my phone is naked right up until I get the first scratch on the screen, and I throw the screen protector on it so I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, that's
True
I think it's for
confessions.
most people.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the worst thing happened to my Galaxy Nexus. I'm not sure what to do anymore. So I have a screen protector on it, but a hair got stuck between the earpiece and the phone, and I blew on it to take it off, and it got even further, so it's trapped there. I tried to take it off with a knife, and it's pretty bad. I wouldn't mind having a scratch on my phone, I think.
Using a knife, that's guaranteed to get a scratch on your phone.
I know.
You guys won't like the Nexus 4, the little microphone or the headphone piece. The little grill catches lint, and I keep it in my pocket a lot. And I'm constantly going out, making sure it's not getting anything in there. But yeah, I mean, but the other thing, here's something I'll show you guys. My wife might not want me to show this, but even if you put a screen protector on it, like I did for this, you know what? It's still gonna crack. And I don't know if you guys can see this. This is my wife's smashed.
Oh my gosh.
If you have it, doesn't matter. Glass will break. You know, we're just protecting it from the small little insecurities. But if it falls, chances are it's gonna fall and break. So you know what?
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it the way it's meant to be. That's what I think. Okay, I'm not sure if we did a thing yet about the poll. And this is something I like to do maybe once a week. We have a little poll in the blog, and we ask you guys what your thoughts are. And the number one answer for how do you like your phone? Anyone have a guess?
Naked.
Naked.
It's naked. Okay, so here's the thing. So almost 40% of you guys, 2 out of 5 of you guys are saying naked. I want a naked phone. I want that thing the way God intended it to be, right? However, I mean, that leaves 60% of people saying either just a screen protector, just a case, or both. Both is the next highest at 30%. Right? So, and then it's split evenly at 15 and 15 for a screen protector or a case. So, I mean, like, it's a pretty close call, but, you know, for how many people are saying they love naked, it is the highest number, but there's a greater percentage of people who are protecting their device.
Well, they're protecting their investment. I mean, you guys flip through phones quickly, but
Yeah.
you know, most people aren't into getting a new phone and then getting another new phone and selling their old phone and stuff like that. So
I'd rather not flip through phones, to be honest with you. I mean, why I went to the Galaxy S3 this year is because I was switching plans and they were offering a subsidy, so I'm going to take something. Right? They're not going to give me a discount either ways. And then I knew I could sell that to get the Nexus 4. So, I mean, I still have to sell this thing to help me recoup the cost on that. You know, that and Christmas. My visa's a little heavy right now, so I'd love to get to do that. But yeah, I mean, there is something to say. I mean, I'm Scottish. I'm cheap. I like to protect the things I do spend my hard-earned money on. However, in the end of the day, I think I prefer it to be as pristine as it once was. And you know, and to be honest, some of the comments we've heard about when people talk about cases, this is probably the same for the bumper case. Ever since Ice Cream Sandwich, you really have that holo feel they call it, right? Swiping left to right, the experience, very gesture-based. When you put that up, you now have barriers to just swiping beyond that thing. So you start feeling like you're in the hockey rink, right? You're playing in between the boundaries. So it interferes in some sense with that feel. Take it for what it's worth. That's just some of the comments we've heard. Okay, so let's move along. Thanks, guys, for keeping along as I apparently had a Shaw shutdown. Comment, Tom? Sorry, I missed,
Yeah. You were talking about how you don't like flipping phones, whereas I'm at introduction, I love flipping phones. I mean, I'm almost got a new Android every month, as Ryan would know. And the whole idea about flipping phones is you're always on a warranty. I mean, 9 out of 10 times you buy a phone, you don't like it, just walk it back to the store and try another one, right? And the fact that you're always on a warranty, if you buy from the international models, they're worth more here in Canada because they're harder to get. So, for me, I buy a cheap China dock off eBay for like $4 or whatever, free shipping, pop it on Craigslist. I almost get my full investment back. Take that money, reinvest it into a North American or international model, and I'm little money out of pocket. So if you keep on very steady rotation, if you go over 3 months, you lost half your investment right there. If you can go 2 months, new phone, 2 months, new phone, I know it's not ideal for the average user, but if you can do that, you can probably go $50 to $100 loss every 2 months. And there's been instances I've actually made money. Like, for example, with the Nexus 4, I mean, you buy it for $350 plus your taxes, let's say $425. Go on eBay, you get $600 for it. I mean, you sell it locally here in Canada, you probably get more because, I mean, it's harder to get in Canada right now, right? So I mean,
we talked about that being a douchebag move to sell the $350 Nexus for $600, Tom. We've had this.
Well, I don't do it,
but it's possible. But no, that's the thing, and I have talked to other people about that, saying, well, it's not possible to buy that many phones. But if you think about it, right? In a year, let's say you take a $50 to $100 a hit, and every 2 months. That's, only a couple $100 or so out the year versus buying outright a phone in the beginning. So, I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other or so.
I'm with Rogers and TELUS, right? And I've established a relationship with Rogers and TELUS. I get some pretty decent deals with them. And I refuse to sign 3-year contracts. I will only sign 2-year only, right? And I stagger my contracts. So every year, 1 year I buy from Rogers, 1 year I buy from TELUS. I won't pay any money for a phone. I'm not paying you $159 for a Galaxy S3. Forget it. You're going to give it to me for free, and you're going to give it to me for 2 years, and they do. So, I mean, if I already have that phone, I leave it in the wrap, pop it on Craigslist, $600. There you go. I just covered my loss for the whole year. Now I do it again. Okay, TELUS's turn. Okay, let's give me the Galaxy S4 next year. Leave it in the wrap, or if I want it, make my money back. There you go. I just covered myself for the whole year. So if you play your cards right, you can really maximize your game, right?
Yeah. I mean, and one of the things I probably haven't gone that route myself is because when I was with Android in Canada, I had the relationships with the OEMs, and they were sending me phones to play with. And that's honestly the only reason why I had other phones was to play with something. So the fact that I would get a phone for a week to play with sates my hunger to get a new tech toy, and I send it back in a little package to them, and I go back to the one I like. So, Cass, you had a comment on that.
I just wanted to say that, it's probably going to be easier for you, Tom, because you're in a big city. Like, I'm in a small town of 25,000 people on the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. I don't really need that kind of reputation. I have to be a nice person.
It was my
screw nice being.
Every review article I had on Android in Canada was actually phones I owned. It wasn't given to me or borrowed from a friend or even from a company. It was the phone I went out and bought that day, brought it home, reviewed it. I mean, I got probably almost 20 reviews on there just from like a year and a half I was writing for them.
Yeah, Tom, I like that style of flipping phones, but I thought about it. You explained to me the whole process, and it's kind of nice. But I can't see myself buying a new phone every 2 months. It's been a year now that I have my Nexus, and I feel comfortable with it. I know where to look for my ROMs and my updates and all that. Isn't that a lot of work and reinstalling and lots of time consuming?
When you love Android, man, you're willing to commit the hours.
Oh, I love Android, but
I'm not feeling it from you right now, buddy.
I know.
I think Tom and I have had this discussion before, yeah, about I didn't want to try a new ROM because, you know what, I got my screens the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
I got my databases. I had gotten to a certain point in Angry Birds that I wanted to, and for some reason I never was able to get Titanium Backup to work the same way as me. As you guys said, Titanium Backup, right? For some reason it didn't work for me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But that was my issue. So I'm like, I'm just lazy. So, anyways, we'll keep moving along here. Did we talk about Jelly Bean percentages yet?
Yes.
No, but it's at 10% and we're done.
Yep, it's at 10%. Yeah, it's growing. I've heard it's growing faster than ICS did. The next thing that's around the corner we hear is CES. I mean, I used to be in the electronics trade, so CES was the end-all, be-all mecca of where you heard all your news, and we waited for that next article of market news to hit to see what was going on. So last year we saw a lot of stuff about Android, and we saw it was 2012 was supposed to be the year of Google TV. We saw the ASUS memo, which we ended up turning out to be the idea of the Google Nexus 7. So what are some of the predictions anybody might have for its, what they might see at CES? Google Glasses, Tom, you're saying? Google Glasses was said at Google I/O not for a while yet, not for at least till 2014, and it was, I think you had to pay like $2,000 down payment to be on that list.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I bet so 2014 was the year of Google Glass. I can give you that. But 2013, what do we see 2013? And this is what
Google
CES is all about. I think it's Google TV.
Nexus.
I think we're going to start
TV.
seeing that smart TV. Any thoughts, comments, criticisms?
I think Cass is right. You probably see Nexus TV made by Google for Google. No outside brands do it themselves or whatever.
I was really hoping to hear some sort of merger. I mean, when I wrote about the 2013 review predictions, I was hoping that we would see a merger of Google TV operating system and the and actual Android proper. So would it be two separate things? These are being like children. we're trying to pronounce ASUS, right? ASUS. ASUS.
For all those at home that can't see our chat log, we're typing while we're talking. So there's a little backwards conversation that you guys can't see, and it's adults only.
Okay, it's ASUS, even though technically the name ASUS or ASUS comes from the name Pegasus, right? So it should be ASUS, but I think they say ASUS. Just to help you guys with your knowledge there. So Google TV proper, I think that I was really hoping to see something with the Motorola brand. My PVR is Motorola. Maybe some sort of merger in that sense, because I hate the idea of a smart TV, and here's why. I buy phones maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, 3 times a year most. Tom buys them once a month. I buy my TV once every 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't buy that many TVs. Chances are, in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, let's say 5 years, a phone 5 years ago would not run what the operating system today wants. A computer 5 years ago has a tough time running what it's going to. So I much would rather see adapter scenarios, dongle scenarios with a TV. Make a TV, but make an adapter that you plug in. They talked about years ago about a smart card idea. So you plug this little smart card in instead of, so who knows? That's what I was kind of hoping to see, but definitely we're going to see some Google TV out there. It's going to be a lot of Google TV. There's going to be some new tablets. We've seen some stuff from Acer. We've seen Corning already talk about Gorilla Glass 3 already. We're going to see better phones. Are we going to see this flexible screen? Who knows? We've heard the Galaxy S4, not to spread more rumors, but the Galaxy S4 will not be unveiled at CES. We knew that a while ago, so please stop talking about it, everybody. However, that's not to say some guy from Korea is not going to be there with it in his pocket. He might say, hey, you want to check this out? Don't tell nobody. See this? There you go.
See that either.
Find at a bar somewhere.
Gizmodo
That
gets
doesn't
sued
happen
again.
with Samsung.
No. But there was a comment from one of the guys from Samsung who did say that a prototype model would be available behind closed doors to their OEM partners. So I don't think we're going to hear any stats. And if we do hear any stats come out of it, I hope we all shut that site down who comes out with, oh, it's going to have a 5.5-inch screen and 8 gigs of RAM and you can bend it in 12 different ways. So who knows what's going to come out. I just think what's really going to be cool, it's going to be stuff that's cool. I had a couple media releases that were embargoed. I unfortunately don't have access to them anymore, but there were some pretty cool things. Like I'm looking at this smaller end stuff, and that's the really cool thing I like. I like the new toys. What are the new toys that I can play with? We all know there's going to be better TVs, there's going to be better hardware, there's going to be better, but what new features are we adding this year that we can play with? Is it the Android at home? Is that going to be popular again this year? Trying to talk about it. So let's take a look at some reviews. Well, reviews, Nexus 4, I have it. I am going to be putting together a nice little review on this in the next little while. I talked about this a while ago when I already got it. It's not that great a device, but it's a Nexus device.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not that much of an upgrade over the Galaxy Nexus in terms of...
And that's what people said about the Galaxy Nexus as well. Not a really great device, but it's a Nexus.
Yeah, but I think here's the thing. When Samsung's going to go out and make a Galaxy Nexus, they're making the Galaxy S3 at the same time, right? They're going to make a Galaxy S3 and they make the Galaxy Nexus. And they go, okay, this is the one that's going to be cheaper through the Google program, and the Google's going to run it. Here's my baby, though. This is the one I'm going to have my name on it. I'm going to have all the LTE features. And I think with LG, it was the Nexus 4 and their Optimus G. The Optimus G has LTE, has the expandable memory. So same idea, that they have I wouldn't say underpowered, because that's the wrong way. But I feel like I'm still using my Galaxy Nexus. It isn't as fast. I actually think my S3 is slightly faster than my Nexus 4 is. Call it weird, call it a placebo effect or whatever, but I noticed lag on my Galaxy or my Nexus 4.
Really? So, because you have 1 extra gig of RAM on there?
2 gigs on this guy as well.
Yeah, I'm talking from the Galaxy Nexus. Oh yeah, 2 gigs.
Yeah. No, if I go to my wife's Galaxy Nexus, I definitely notice a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
But after having used, let's say, an S3 for so long, going to the Nexus 4, I do notice that it's not as fast. It's great, but it's not the top-end device that I think I was really thinking before. Nice device, 4.2, real, but that's it. Okay, Tom, comment.
Yeah, you're talking about the Nexus 4 being a little bit slower than your S3. That's actually caused from 4.2.1 Jelly Bean at the moment. They're still trying to perfect it, and I can actually prove that. And the reason for that being is I've actually been doing a lot of benchmarks, and I'm not just talking one. We've been doing all of them, including the JavaScript one online. And I was scoring nearly 8,000 on most of them, where a couple of my friends from the Nexus 4 is getting 6.8 thousand, yada 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 yada. So I put my CyanogenMod on here, 4.2.1, and my scores plummeted to the ground. I was getting 5,000 now. I was kicking my butt now. Put Samsung back on there, same thing. Scores shot way up, and I was just kicking ass again, right? And I have a lot of other people having the same instances. They say, wow, it feels so fast, so snappy and everything. They start doing benchmarks going, oh, wasn't as fast as I thought. And then they start doing side-by-side comparisons to their other phones going, oh, it's the it's the placebo effect. I thought it was fast, but it's actually not, and they're kind of figuring this out. So I think, the new Jelly Bean still got some bugs to work out. Hopefully it'll get faster, but I have a strong suspicion that's what it is.
Yeah, but then here's the thing about it too. When we think about what the Nexus program is about, it's about people tinkering and playing around with You know, if you're going to go and give your son a car to go and learn how to change the oil and put the new muffler on and really explore fixing
Change
cars,
gears.
you're not going to give him your Corvette. You're going to give him, you know, a pretty decent, maybe an older version, you know, something you find on, you know, Auto Trader or something like that, right? You're not going to give him the best spanking. I mean, that's a very far example, but I mean, it kind of, I think, it illustrates what the Nexus device is about. It's not meant to be the most top end. It's most to run the most top end software. So, Cass, your comment.
I just wanted to say that even though I'm on Yakux, like, the thing about getting the updates from Samsung is you really don't get these slowdowns because you're on the, like, it took a while for me to even get 4.1.1, but you know, I didn't miss a beat with that. There has been none of the problems. There were none of the problems that were reported when Jelly Bean first came out. It does give them a bit of time to get it settled. So,
but it's a tested version,
about
right?
Being late. Yeah.
Sylvain, you had a comment.
Yes, I want to talk to you about the camera. I know for me, having my phone, it's absolutely important that the camera's good. I don't think it is that good on the Galaxy Nexus, but with your Nexus 4 now, have you been testing the camera and making comparison between the two?
I've been taking a lot of snaps instead of photos, you know what I mean? Like, take a picture of this or that, not really going for photography.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean, snapping pictures,
so, I mean,
just like that on the go.
It's worked out well. What really is kind of lacked for me in that sense is the way that the photo stitching works for photospheres. Closed environments like my office or something like that is a little tougher, and it doesn't stitch as well. I find it's pretty sensitive in certain terms. It needs to be very still, especially if I use HDR. You have to be very still for HDR. But you know, put in the normal light, normal shots, they come out pretty good. I mean, I can't complain about it in that sense. There, I can't. I definitely notice it isn't better. It is better than the Galaxy or the Galaxy Nexus.
Okay.
You know, I put it somewhere about the same as my S3. I think my S3 is a little sharper, I like to say. But that's one thing I got to sit down this next week is sit down and actually do some side-by-side shots with the S3 and then my Nexus 4 and see how I like them. I haven't really done many outdoor shots because it's cold out right now, so I got to try that out.
Yeah, because I know they have more megapixel and all that, but we know it doesn't make much a difference. So I don't know if they changed the sensor or...
This is a different. I want to say it's the Exmor sensor they're using in this one versus what was on this Galaxy Nexus. So it's a different manufacturer entirely, right? Than the Galaxy Nexus is. So of course there's going to be a slight difference in variation.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, megapixels is not the end-all be-all. Remember, that's especially when we're looking at the same sensor size, and you just cram more pixels in that size, the signal noise ratio increases. So, anyways, so that's the Nexus 4. Cass wants to show off this case she has as a review.
Yes. I got a new case for Christmas. It was one of those things you put on your Christmas list and you don't expect to get, and I got it. So this is my first ever premium case. It is a Zenus, and it is leather, not pleather. And it's kind of cool because it has that embedded writing on it that says silly things, but, you know, it's still writing. So this is for my Galaxy Note 10.1, and a couple of features I really wanted. One is the pen holder. You can see. Another is, instead of having the folds, it flips up, and then it has two settings, so that you have angles that your tablet sits at, and then if you want to hold it, you have this hand bar, so you can hold it in in portrait mode, which is really great when you're reading books. So, and the leather cutouts are pretty good. I was reading there were some complaints about them, but I think some people are just like that. So this is the charger side. So you can see it has a good size for the charger. And then the mic is pretty well centered. And then on the top, you know, pretty open. It protects the camera lens with the flap. So that's kind of nice. You know, your camera lens is going to be protected when you're using it, and you're not, but it's accessible. And then you can get the pen out if you don't have another pen. Okay, you could get the pen out if you're a little more dexterous than I am. So, pen. So I really like this. And one thing that I didn't realize is how much lighter it is than pleather. Like, my other ones are pleather and plastic, and they're pretty and green and stuff like that. But this is really classy looking, and it's really light, and it doesn't add much to the profile of your tablet. Now, like Ryan said, like if it fell out of my car and I drove over it, it wouldn't protect my tablet. But casual drops on carpet, it would be fine, and it really feels nice. Like, this is something I would have no problem taking to a business meeting, whereas sometimes when I have a tablet with me, I tend to sort of keep it hidden.
Question about that, Cass.
Mm-hmm.
When you're actually sitting on the couch using it, is it still comfortable to hold, or how much bulk does it really add to your tablet?
It adds hardly any bulk at all, like way less than an actual pleather one. Like, you know, the ones that you see with the 3 bends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't add as much at all. Like, I was really surprised. And because it just has a leather outside, leather outside, you don't have that weight of the plastic. The only thing I don't like about this is it fits in. There's sort of a leather flap here that holds it in, and it's hard to push it closed enough. I'm just picky.
Well, that might loosen up with some use, though, as well, hey?
Yeah, I just have to hold it upside down, leave it that way.
I see.
I'm not using
I
it.
like the idea that it has that strap for holding it. What I'm finding myself is I'll sit there and I'll read. I find my hand at that angle, I get a lot of little tendonitis in that arm there. I notice, you know, if I sit and I read a book or something like that, I find I end up having to really, my hand gets a little cramped up that way. So
I like that, and I like that it doesn't have the fold marks in the back. You know, like all the other ones that really fold up, they have a folded back. Whereas this, because it's got the little pull things on the inside of the case, it just has a very classic looking, it just looks like a portfolio. It doesn't look like you have a tablet case. So, I mean, I have to give a shout out to my husband. I put it on my Christmas list as one of those things where you go, yeah, I'll just put this on. I won't get it. So Christmas morning was pretty like, you got me this. And I didn't even have my tablet with me because we were out of town.
oh, that's the worst Christmas gift.
Oh,
You can't use it right away.
I can
We've always
still
struggled
look
with our
at
kid,
it
eh?
and pat it.
Do I have to get something? If I get something like for camping, I can't use it for like 4 months. Crap.
Oh, yeah. Winter
Cool.
stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing. And what I've done is I put a link in the agenda topics.
Thanks.
So if people want to take a look at that and buy it themselves, you know, if they don't
Or
have
get someone to buy it for them.
Yeah. Got to do some pleading, I guess, right? So the other thing I noticed, I'm watching the time here. So we also talk a lot about app updates recently. There's not been a lot of updates in the past one because it's been Christmas time. People really haven't been updating. I've been noticing it. It's kind of funny. I turn my phone on and I don't see updates. Nova Launcher had a big update the other day. Tom, you've been using this, or Sylvain, you've been using this one?
I've been using it.
Yeah, me too.
They added a fair amount of customization to it. They've kind of enhanced it a bit more. I actually did a review on it on Android Coliseum not too long ago. They also enhanced it to be more compatible with the new Jelly Bean 4.2. So because there was some issues where you would swipe and the shadows would get stuck and the letters shadow would be thicker and thicker and thicker, and your search bar would get brighter and brighter and brighter. It looked real ugly. So they fixed that up, and of course they add some more things. You can like customize your folders and little icons at the bottom dock and other stuff like that. Just really more customization, basically.
Yeah, what's really nice and what I like is that every icon, if it's in your dock or in a folder or just your home screen, you can swipe it to another app. So that's just awesome, because I have a lot of icons on my phone, and it's nice now to just swipe to get, let's say I have a quick pick for a gallery, but if I swipe it, gallery opens, the one from Google. So that's pretty nice.
Cool. The other update we saw, actually it was today they announced it, and I wrote about this. Now, I'm going to talk about it, but it doesn't really affect us here in Canada, so take it with a grain of salt here. But one of the things is they've now done is they're linking real-world subscriptions to the Google Play magazine. So if you had a subscription to, say, Maclean's magazine, you could go into the Google Play magazine store and try and verify your subscription. They would give you the Play magazine subscription as well, the digital version. Unfortunately, Canada doesn't work, but they're starting to do that in the States now. So that's something that's people have been saying is the problem with this. The Google one is the fact that I already pay for it. Why do I pay for it again? So this is something that's starting out. I was really hoping that they would launch it in Canada too. My other prediction for 2013 is the year they start including.
I think we lost Ryan again.
Management services, like Google Music. Am I out?
You're again, Ryan.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here now.
Ball.
You froze up for about 3 seconds.
Am I in now?
Yeah, you're here now. You're a little bit slow,
Okay.
but you're here now.
Shaw.
So just say
Yeah,
that
so
again,
I thought
Ryan.
this would be the year.
What's going to
Yeah, so I just thought that this would be the
2013?
year. Yeah, it would be the year Canada gets included. We get to have Google's system. We're not the redheaded stepchild of the Google system.
That'd be
We
great.
get the updates. We get the services when the States get them. Unfortunately, it's not true. But I think the fact that we could go ahead and buy a Nexus 4, like everybody else bought a Nexus 4 this year, is a good start.
I think
No
our
Yak2
copyright
UX.
has to change a lot before a lot of that stuff will come in, because we can legally record things and use them as long as we don't sell them. We pay that extra tax, and it's just like, for instance, at my work, they have $1 million, billion-dollar thing, and everybody except Canada gets entered for a mini because we don't pay taxes on lottery winnings, so they don't get a tax receipt. So, I mean, it's the same thing. We have some very different laws here that'll probably slow down integration a lot.
I was just hoping that this would be the year that they have that figured out. I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, not to say, but like iTunes sells music in Canada. Amazon sells books in Canada, or Kindle, or whatever it is.
But they don't sell music in Canada.
But like, if somebody's figured it out, I'm thinking a huge giant like Google can figure it out. That's my hoping. So I was hoping this year we'd start off, we'd see a story like that, and we'd see Canada included right off the hop. So that's what I was hoping. But just not to be, unfortunately. But who knows?
Google stuff. They should recognize us.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so on from that, let's talk about. We talked about some accessories we all like. We talked about those great cases and screen protectors and stuff like that. The last portion of the show we have is our App Coliseum, where we like to talk about an app that we like, that we were using this recently, that we go around and choose. Obviously, Mark's not here this week. Sylvain, who's just gotten back from New York, hasn't had a chance to really play around. Did you have one? He'll have a video coming up this week in the blog. Tom, did you have an app you wanted to share with everybody?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw an app out there. So let me drop my screen. You're first in the list, you jerk. You put me on the spot. Okay.
I'm the host.
Let's get my screen up there for you guys. So my app is the one for the rooted user. So unfortunately, you will have to be rooted to use this. And it's one that I think everyone should really have. It's called Ad Free. I've done a couple of reviews on this in the past. Though at this point on this screen here, it would usually ask you for root permission, so you obviously hit grant, and you're going to boot normally. I did this before the show, so I've already been updated. I had to make sure everything works. So it says you're good to go, but before it said that, hey, there's updates for your host file. So you said hit OK. The top left-hand corner, you see download and install host. So you go ahead and do that. And it's success. So you just go ahead and restart your Android. And what this is going to do is when you're surfing the internet, all the ad bars that would usually get in your way are gone. And this app will cover almost like, let's say, 97% of the ad bars, and especially in games, because ad bars is something that's been really crazy in a lot of free apps now. People are just going nuts on ad bars. So, like, for example, let's just take Angry Birds. You know, you're trying to fling your bird, you know, hit the little pigs, and all of a sudden this bar comes down top right-hand corner and totally blocks what you're trying to do. Well, this app gets rid of that. So on most games, again, 97%, this kills that bar, gives you your game what you need, you know, keeps it free, keeps it, you know, out of your way and more enjoyable. So that's my app, very quick today.
Cool. All right, Tom. So got a couple of questions here from Cass, and then from Sylvain. Cass?
So I was just wondering, does that stop those push ads as well?
No.
Like people have been saying they've been getting
the push
and notification ads.
It's built in to the app, and I honestly think that they should be yanked from the store because I honestly see it as a breach of privacy, and it should not be there. Any advertisement should be contained within the application. Do not infect my Android. Once I see the ad in my notification bar, out it goes, and I give it a 1-star rating, and I will badmouth it to the day it dies. Do not infect my Android.
And that's one of the things when I get new users asking is, I get these notifications in, and like, well, you have to go back and find that app that's causing it, and don't install it. Push ads are just terrible. There's so many better ways. Sylvain, you got a question?
Yes. Well, I've been using it ever since Tom published his article, and I would say in half of my apps, I still see advertisement, so I don't know what's going on.
Do you keep it updated?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, because I know they do release more hosts as well, and if you update it, that's why I said 97% of them. You know, there is the odd one that it won't work. And for times like that, there is a sister app for it as well, not by the same company, but it's called Ad Away.
Okay.
It's a different method of blocking ads as well. So Ad Away is the alternate version to that, also free, and yes, you still have to be rooted to use that one as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Tom, if you could do me a favor and get a link for that, and we can put that onto the blog, and we can put that on out there. Everybody let them see that.
I'll get a link as well. Working on it.
Perfect. Thanks, guy. So my app this week is something. I was debating because you know what? To be honest with you, I've been kind of relaxed in the past little while in terms of what apps I wanted to share and use because it's been Christmas holidays, I'm not really doing much. So this one, it's kind of a personal one I was going to share, but I'll do it anyways. Let's just see here. Share this window so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let's bring this up. Okay, so this is an app I'm using called Fig. Now, this is the time of year we sit around here and we say, it's my New Year's resolution. What am I going to do in 2013? This is my New Year's resolution, essentially. I want to spend more time with my wife, saying, take her on dates more often. I want to work out more often. But we always say we're going to do it, but by mid-January we forget. So this is an app I'm testing out right now called Fig that you can set up these little events and these little activities, and you can say, I want to do these 3 times a week, and every time you do it, you tick the box. Have you done it, right? And so you can now, whether it's going to give you a notification to bug you to say you haven't done it yet, I don't know. But at least I can look at it and say, did I do it today yet, or am I falling behind? I can follow along. But you have all these sort of, for example, themes you can choose from. Let's see, this brings us up here. So I want to, let's say, healthy eating. I'm a terrible healthy eater.
You should try and get pregnant.
I should try and get pregnant?
Well, it had pregnancy there as an option.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not from the food, Ryan.
No. Okay. Yeah, pregnancy right there. Stress reduction. Let's take like a stress reduction. Now that you mentioned pregnancy. Jeez Louises.
Welcome to the live show, everyone.
Okay, let's say, for example, drink water. My wife likes to say, for example, that you make sure you drink your water, and she loves saying anything that you have, a headache or whatever, is because you're not drinking enough water. So I want to drink 8 glasses of water a day. And you can say, I can change that. You know what? I want to drink, I'm going to go keter. I want 12 glasses, a day. Or I can change it to a week, a month, a year, or whatever I want. And then I can have basically, because like a semi-social network, I can say who do I want to see this. Either just myself or everybody or just people I've invited into my FIG. So you can have these little custom activities and do that. So I'm going to try this out and see how does this help me with my New Year's resolutions for that. And again, just to make me all accountable to everybody else, here they are. Basic ones for myself right now. So that's called FIG. I'll get the link for everybody to share that out. Yeah, so there we go. That's FIG for me. Blam. Anyways, okay. Anybody else anything else want to share this week?
Me.
Yay. We want to share,
I
Cass.
have Android widget.
Oh, right,
Or, sorry, agenda widget. So I've been using this for a long, long time. And I finally, it's been updating, but I finally sort of updated my widget and found it does a whole bunch of cool stuff that I didn't realize. So the reason why I like this in the first place is because it scrolls. I don't know how fast it's scrolling on your screen, but it scrolls. So it's kind of nice. I can set how far into the future I want it to scroll. You guys can see that mostly I exercise in suntan. I can change the view. Well, I could earlier today. Don't do this. So I can switch layouts and have a calendar come up instead. Very slowly. Don't do this. So anyways, it comes up with the calendar and it just shows the month. And yeah, my phone's been acting weird since I had it on here. I've had it on here for quite a while. And then you can just press on the date and it'll pop up what appointments you have for that day. I don't know what this is doing. And you can also, I have it set on a transparent theme. I think my phone's crashed. Or this is crashed.
That's
so
crashed.
You can have it set up on you can have it set on a bunch of different themes. It's a lot like the agenda widget, the calendar widget that people were saying just came out that is very popular on iOS. That's what got me to look at this one more closely. So this has all the features that that particular calendar has. Cool. And then I said type something to Tom. So this has all the features that one does. It has its own calendar feature. It links in very well with your Google Calendar, and you can have all your different calendars showing at the same time, and they're color coded, as you saw for a moment while my widget was working. So I think I get my whole phone locked up. You guys can stop now. I will.
Rude. One of these days.
Don't you guys mute when you're not talking?
We should be doing that. I'm just posting the links here onto the Google Plus page of what our app Coliseum is this week. So, agenda widget.
It is.
So just so you guys are knowing how we're doing this, Tom and I are using AirDroid share screen feature, but you need to have a rooted for that. And that, to be honest with you, that's probably the only reason I have my phone rooted right now.
And I'm using Droid at Screen. I do not have to be rooted.
So
and I think my phone just crashed. That's why that didn't work.
So we're saying obviously it's the non-rooted phone that's having the issue.
It's like attaching your phone to the computer for 6 hours is the problem.
Anyhow, we're sorry. We're not making fun of you. We're making fun of the fact that we're a live radio show of a bunch of amateurs here. We really don't know what we're doing.
We're here
At the end of the day, we're here for your entertainment. So that's our hangout for today. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Android world, obviously, and we want to make sure that when we're talking to you guys and we're having a conversation with each other about, again, that lifestyle, so that no question goes unanswered. For those of you who hadn't had a chance to see, there was a guy that wrote on Gizmodo yesterday, I think it was, who was a diehard iPhone user fan and why he switched over to Android. And he said, one of the things that really cemented it for him was the community that Android has. You can go online and find an answer for just about anything. My dad went online the other day to find out, and he was so proud of himself about this, that he found out how to answer his phone, the Galaxy Note 2. He was so impressed that he was able to find the answer without asking me. He could go online, do a Google search, and he wasn't the only one with the issue who didn't know how to answer a phone call. So, and that's one of the cool things, the way that Android works. I think it's, we all have our issues with this phone. It's, I think, one of the better systems out there, but we need to have that community working together. So for that, we have our blog, our Twitter, our Facebook, especially our Google Plus page, our events, our YouTube page, and even our Google Plus communities. We have the Google Plus community for Android Coliseum. We even had a Canadian Androider when I made up a while ago. So plenty of chances to talk with us or talk with each other. That's what it's all about. So I'm Ryan. We have thanks to Tom, thanks to Sylvain, thanks to Cass, and thanks to you guys for tuning in, and those of you who will be tuning in for the perpetuity that these videos will be on YouTube for. By all means, comment. We're watching for these comments. We're watching for your input. We want to make sure we're writing what you guys want to be hearing. And with that, we'll end it, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks so much.
See you guys.
See ya.